Everyone laughed when she walked into the hall, until the colonel stopped mid-step, stared at her shoulder, and went silent. No one expected what he said next. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The inspection hall smelled faintly of polish and cold metal. The sound of boots striking the concrete echoed like distant thunder. Rows of soldiers stood perfectly straight, uniforms crisp, badges gleaming under the harsh white lights. But one uniform, looked different. Private First Class Maya Thompson stood at the far end of the line. Her jacket wasn't regulation new. Its fabric was slightly faded, and the patch on her right arm caught the morning light in an odd way. An older unit insignia, stitched carefully, worn with time. It wasn't the one everyone else wore. The whispers began immediately. Did she pull that out of a thrift store? Someone muttered. Who even approved that patch? Another snickered under his breath. Maya heard every word, even though she tried not to react. Her hands tightened at her sides. The weight of every stare pressed against her back like heat. She had earned that patch, but no one here knew what it meant. Not yet. Captain Rogers, the inspection officer, stopped when he reached her. He was known for his precision and for his pride. Private Thompson, he said, his tone sharp. What's this? Wrong insignia, faded uniform, non-standard stitching. You think you're above regulations? The laughter behind her grew bolder. Maya swallowed hard. No, sir, she said quietly. This uniform belonged to my father. I didn't ask for a family story, Private, he cut in. I asked why you think it's acceptable to disrespect uniform standards. Her heart pounded in her chest. Permission to explain, sir? She asked. He waved a hand dismissively. Make it quick. Maya's voice trembled, but her eyes didn't waver. My father served 20 years before he didn't come home. He earned this patch during Operation Iron Haven. I was given permission by the base commander to wear it during inspection week to honor him. The room went quiet for a heartbeat. Then someone snorted. Sure, and next she'll say she's got a medal from the president. The laughter returned, louder this time. But that's when the door opened. A commanding voice sliced through the noise. Who said that? The colonel entered, tall, silver-haired, his uniform immaculate, medals heavy across his chest. Colonel Avery Hale. Every soldier straightened instantly. He looked down the line, eyes like steel. I heard laughter. At inspection. Explain. No one dared speak. Rogers stepped forward. Sir, it was just a small misunderstanding. This private, but the colonel wasn't listening to him. His gaze had locked on Maya. More specifically, on the patch on her arm. He walked slowly toward her, boots echoing like a slow drumbeat. The room held its breath. When he stopped in front of her, he didn't speak right away. His hand lifted, not in reprimand, but reverence. This patch, he murmured, his voice low. Where did you get it? It was my father's, sir, Maya said softly. Sergeant Daniel Thompson. The colonel's face changed, a flicker of recognition, grief, and respect. Your father, he whispered. I knew him. The air shifted. Every soldier could feel it. The tension that filled the hall just moments ago was replaced by a silence heavy with realization. Colonel Hale turned toward the line of soldiers, his voice rising, strong and steady. You mock this uniform? He asked coldly. You mock his memory? No one moved. He pointed to Maya's shoulder. That patch outranks yours. Because before any of you were here polishing your buttons, the men and women who wore that insignia were bleeding to keep you safe enough to wear yours. The words struck like thunder. The laughter was gone. Even Captain Rogers lowered his eyes. For a moment, Maya couldn't breathe. The weight she'd been carrying, of mockery, of misunderstanding, lifted in a single sentence. Her father's name wasn't just remembered. It was honored. Colonel Hale looked back at her, his voice softening. Sergeant Thompson saved 12 soldiers that night, he said, including me. A gasp rippled through the hall. He was the one who carried us out when the building collapsed. We thought no one would make it through the fire, but he did. Alone. The colonel paused. That patch represents a unit that doesn't exist anymore, because most of them didn't come home. But their courage still does. Through people like you. Maya's throat tightened. Thank you, sir, she whispered. Don't thank me, he said. Thank him. By wearing that uniform exactly the way it is. He turned to the others. If I hear one more word about her uniform, you'll wish you'd earned a fraction of what that patch stands for. That night, the barracks were quiet. No one dared mention the inspection again, but the story spread through the base faster than wildfire. Soldiers who once mocked her began nodding respectfully when she passed. A few even asked about her father, about the patch. And in the stillness of her bunk, Maya held the old jacket against her chest. She could still smell faint traces of her father's aftershave, that faint mix of oak and coffee that used to fill the kitchen every morning. She remembered how he'd laugh when she tried on his cap as a kid. "You'll fill it out one day, kiddo," he'd said. "Just don't forget who wore it before you." Now she understood. Weeks later, Colonel Hale visited her during field training. The sun was setting, painting the horizon gold. He walked beside her quietly, his expression thoughtful. "You remind me of him," he said finally. Maya smiled faintly. "I don't think anyone could compare to my dad, sir." "Maybe not," the colonel said. "But courage runs in blood. And so does humility." He handed her a small box. Inside was a medal, one she'd seen only in history books. "He was supposed to get this," Hale said. "But by the time it arrived, he was gone. I think it's time his daughter received it in his name." Her breath caught. She stared at the medal, its bronze edges glinting in the fading light. "Sir, I don't deserve this." "Yes," the colonel said, his voice firm. "You do. Because you've already learned the hardest part of service, standing tall when the world misunderstands you." That night, under the quiet hum of the base lights, Maya pinned the medal right below her father's patch. It wasn't about the recognition. It was about legacy, about carrying forward what he stood for, even when others didn't understand. And the next time inspection came, no one dared laugh. Instead, when she stepped into the line, the room went still, not out of fear, but respect. Even Captain Rogers, once cold and critical, nodded slightly as he passed her. "Looks good, Private," he said. "Looks right." Maya smiled quietly. She didn't need validation anymore. She carried something far greater: memory, honor, and the weight of a promise she'd kept. Because some uniforms aren't worn for show. They're worn for those who can't wear them anymore. Because courage doesn't fade, it gets passed down, one patch at a time. And when she stood there under the bright inspection lights, Maya finally understood the truth her father once told her. Respect isn't about rank. It's about how you carry the ones who came before you. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes, it shows up in the form of a single patch that outranks them all. If this story moved you, share it with someone who'd understand what that patch means. Tell me in the comments what legacy you're carrying forward. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that honor courage, humility, and the quiet heroes among us.